And go.
Sweet. Alrighty, we're back for part two, baby, on this tier maker. So anyway, Douglas, we got a view back to what's happening with the tier maker. What we were talking about, which team we were talking about beforehand.
So we just finished up with the Bears. We decided to leave the Bears and the Panthers as twos. The loser will be relegated to one
The toilet
status
bowl,
for Thursday Night Football.
the ultimate toilet bowl, Douglas. It is not
This is
a
a
regular
true
toilet
toilet
bowl. This is the ultimate tank bowl. The Garantas of tank balls. But
I'm
anyway.
excited. Now I have a reason to watch this game.
Yes, we could, and I would just do it for the lols. Oh my goodness, it is the
Cool. So what
craziest.
game do we have next?
We have the craziest game right now. The Vikings somehow pulled off a miracle against Atlanta.
Oh yeah, that was something.
That was the craziest thing. Oh my goodness, I just got to say, for Joshua Dobbs, I had a feeling he, and I'm going to tell you this, Douglas, don't drink, don't give him Gatorade. Because he had the look when he was drinking that Gatorade. It was a Kirk Cousins look. He had the same look. He's like, I'm about to beat these mofos.
Kirk Cousins must have gotten his headset.
Yes. And it's crazy for Joshua Dobbs because he's been on 3 teams this year. And literally, like most players, it's so crazy. Like he has to learn the playbook like right now.
Well, the fact that he not only was on 5 teams, but he was a genuine NFL starter for 2 teams. Because I think he was on the team that would have beaten the Cowboys. So he started in like those games, won. So he's won with 2 different franchises as an NFL starting quarterback in the same year. I can't
Yeah,
think of that really ever happening.
I know. It is so crazy. So as a Lions fan, and I know you don't like the Vikings, and I love making fun of the Vikings as a
Mhm.
lot, their missed field goals, their
Yeah,
their legacy of failure of the Vikings.
they're a
They
factor
would
of seven.
technically make the playoffs right now as a 5 and 4 seed.
Yeah,
They would be the number 1 seed, and they would play against Detroit.
yeah. I
I
mean,
know.
I guess a 6. They won.
Yeah,
Like, I mean, I think the Lions would beat them, especially at home. Like, you can't tell me that like this is gonna last, but it's a heck of a story and a really fun game.
I cannot believe that they just made that this team is still in it. Like
Like,
you
if
gave them the
somehow they win the
six.
division, it'll be an all-time collapse by the Lions. Like,
Yes. This team literally was at 2s at week 6. I had
mhm.
no hope Vikings.
Yeah,
And they made it to a 6?
3 straight wins, man. Good for them. Good for
Good
them.
for them. It's
As a
like
Lions fan, the Lions aren't going to win it easy, so that'll make it fun.
they will make it fun, so I'll give them shit. Now, what are we gonna put the ATL Atlanta? This is a
Atlanta
weird.
just they always disappoint me. I mean, I feel like a 4. Like,
Yeah, I think they're in like the weird 4 and 5. I feel like it doesn't really matter for either one. This team is just not that good.
yeah, let's do a 4 because like we already gave the Buccaneer. Well, put the Buccaneers at a 4 too.
I
Um,
think, and then once we get to the Saints, we gave them the 6, so it's like, yeah, 4. Like
yeah,
it doesn't really. I feel like this is one of those where it's like doesn't really matter. Any
I
of
think in
those.
the grand scheme of things, it doesn't mean much.
Yeah, I honestly feel like I should put both that division of 5.
Yeah,
Now we gotta talk about this weird. So the Packers finally won a game against the Rams, 20-3.
yeah, yeah. The Rams are without Stafford though, but still, a win's a win.
Yeah, that is a true. And I don't think, I'll be honest, even with Stafford against the Cowboys, it did not look good until he got
No,
hurt.
they definitely are past their Super Bowl prime. Good
Yeah,
for that he won his one because he's not winning another one.
yeah, he's definitely not winning another one. But you know what? You know what the Rams player got to say? I got a ring. Sorry, it's not my middle finger. Ring
Like
finger. I got a ring.
if I was a Lions fan, I would absolutely sell our future for a Super Bowl. No
Yes.
problem. I don't care. Like that one ring
That's
will
it.
be there forever.
Get the ring. Ring, baby. They don't care. I mean, if you're like, if I'm a Rams fan, I'm like, okay, at least we won a Super Bowl. So it's not like it's like the end of the world. It
Well,
definitely
exactly.
would
If
be
you're like if you're like the Buffalo Bills right now, and you're just like can't get over that hump, I'd be a lot more disappointed to be a Bills fan than a Rams fan right now until the Bills can get their Lombardi.
yeah, I'm not really feeling bad. But where do we put the Packers? They're
Uh
they're mediocre. They're I don't think this team's gonna make the playoffs. Like,
no, I mean a two feels too low, but I
I don't
mean,
think they're not a two. They're definitely not, but they're definitely not like they're 11, but I'm like, eh. They're
yeah,
beating bad teams.
I think that's what you kind of said for a three, isn't it? Where it's like they beat the bad teams, but they really lose to everyone else.
Yeah. And
So,
also they have lost to bad teams also. So it's like
yeah, so three sounds fair.
I think this is the definitely textbook definition of a three right now. And then where do we put the Rammies?
I mean, they
Man,
also feel like textbook three to me.
yeah, it's so sad because I gave them a five. I'm trying to remember why were they a five? Like,
Well, they looked really good like a week or two. They had Stafford back. Like when Stafford and Cup came back healthy, they had a nice couple of weeks.
yeah, it's kind of crazy because they were like a couple weeks. I guess they got close to the Steelers, and that's why I kind of gave them that. They were sort of close against the Eagles, but still, I'm just like,
Yeah, they're
I feel
not the
very,
most inspiring team.
I'm very lethargic right now. Now,
Yeah.
speaking of very much expiring teams, the Commanders versus the Patriots.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
The Patriots lost again.
Yeah, it's kind of fun. I'm not gonna lie. It's fun seeing the Patriots finally have a downward spell where they missed the playoffs 3 or 4 years. I mean, any team obviously would kill for 20 years of success. So they got to kind of spend some time back in the basement to humble themselves.
Wait a minute. Did you hear that? It's the world's most smallest violin against the Patriots.
But
Oh, I feel so
it'll
boo-hoo.
take another 10 years of mediocrity before I consider feeling bad for the Patriots. As a
Yeah,
Lions fan, we have suffered for, well, let's see here. I'm 30 and
50 years.
we haven't won a division
Literally,
title since I've been alive.
yeah, literally, it's been since Czechoslovakia was a country. Goodness sakes, when the last time the Lions made it to the NFC Championship. For
Yeah,
goodness sake.
exactly. So you're not going to get any sympathy from this Lions fan.
I was still alive.
Yeah. Uh, but yeah, so Patriots, it sounds like they're still at two.
Yeah, honestly, I still think they're two.
And then
They're
Commanders, do they jump back to a three or do they stick at a
This is
two?
a weird thing because they like traded everybody. They gave up. They gave up Chase Young to the 49ers.
Yeah.
I feel
Uh,
like they're like a three. I think they're mediocre. I don't think they're definitely like I definitely don't think they're gonna go to the playoffs because like I said, I think they already checked it. They already cast their check. They're done. So
yeah.
I definitely think they are still that three right now.
Cool.
Now we got to talk about another game, another great game, which I watched on Red Zone. The Colts versus the Panthers.
Yeah. The Colts won, right?
Yeah, the Colts won 27-13. Kind of a decent close game. It wasn't like too bad, but still.
Yeah, the Panthers really never got anything going though. Like I don't know if they fooled Bryce Young or what, but I think this was the one I talked about earlier. Like three interceptions. He just looked off sync all day.
Only one
Jonathan
team.
Taylor finally did something though, so that's cool.
And I love Gardner Minshew. I will say that. Gardner Minshew's actually been pretty good. Gracie's still in the league.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what stinks too. The Colts would be so exciting if they still had Anthony Richardson. Like,
Yeah.
like Gardner Minshew's nice. I mean, I think the Colts, at least for me, I feel like they jumped at least back up to a four. Like they won, they're decent. They're not anything exciting yet. You could make a case for a five, maybe. Like they might be in that football hell while they're waiting
Yeah,
for Richardson, but
but I feel
four
like that
seems more fair.
I feel like that four is definitely a lot more fair. I feel like they're definitely not better than Houston. They're definitely not better than Buffalo. I think the four is like solid right there. And then
Sold.
where do we put are the Panthers? They're still a two.
Yeah, we're leaving them at two. They were the ones that they'll be a one if they lose to the Bears.
Yeah, honestly. But I wouldn't be surprised. Like if they, wouldn't mind giving them the one. They're
Yeah,
bad.
they're
They're,
close, but I feel like it'll make the Tank Bowl more fun if there are two.
oh my God. Honestly, and I will even tell you this. I know this is for this year, but if this was like future stock earnings for like next year, I would give the Panthers like a triple ones just because I think they're going to be bad this year. I think they're going to be bad next year. I'd have no faith in this Panthers team.
Yeah, I mean, I hope for their sake they start hitting some draft picks and Bryce Young turns out to be worthy. Because I mean, shoot, when you pass up Bryce Young for like when you pass up CJ Stroud for Bryce Young,
Like they probably regret it. They should have gotten CJ Stroud.
yeah, CJ Stroud's looking like the should have been number one for sure.
Yeah, that guy should have been number one. And good for you, Houston. You definitely not ruined the quarterback just like you did with Bryce Young.
Yeah, heck yeah.
Now we
Cool.
got to talk about the one game that was not entertaining at all. You're a Giants fan. The Raiders versus the Giants, where it was 30-6, and they lose Daniel Jones.
Yeah, I mean, they've been a two all season. I mean, they could make a case for a one. Like they're another surprising potential one, but I think there's three other teams that are ahead of them on that one list, unfortunately. So it feels like two by default.
Yeah, and where do we get the rate? Like, I feel like I just don't.
Well, they're so hard to say because I mean we'll learn so much about the Raiders, like I think in the coming weeks. Because like they look good, but granted they're playing the Giants.
Yeah, and the Giants are pretty much trash, and I think their season's like almost done. I mean,
Yeah, I
they're at
mean
a
the
5%.
Raiders are playing a rookie quarterback, new head coach. Like I don't see how they jump up much past a two either
And it's
until
crazy because they already fired their head coach already. They fired their GM already.
yeah,
It's
like
like they
yeah,
benched Jimmy Garoppolo, which I did not. I will be honest with you, I was not really impressed with like having Garoppolo. I feel like a lot of teams are trying to do like we just need the quarterback right now. They were trying to do the Ram strategy, and it just was not. This is
yeah.
not the Rams.
I don't think we can put the Raiders past a two until we see more. So if they come back next week and are still solid, okay. But
Mhm.
one win is not, and firing everyone does not do it.
Yeah, firing everyone is not good in this season. You should not be firing. If you're firing everyone, this is just like mid-season, and the
Yeah,
head coach, like this is not good.
it's not good.
Now we got to talk about this tough game for me,
Hmm.
the Cowboys versus Eagles game.
Um, yeah. I mean, the Cowboys looked really good for a half. They didn't look good, so good in the second half.
I know,
Um,
but
I
I
mean, this
watched.
is a game where, like, in all honesty, I just want to leave both teams ranked the same.
Yeah, I mean, I will say this: Dak did actually look good in that game. I will give
Like,
credit to the Cowboys. I think honestly, it was a game of inches, and it
yeah,
sucked that literally both they went out of bounds. Dak couldn't make the 2-point conversion because it's out of bounds, and it was just like that's a game of inches. It wasn't like he screwed it up. And the one when they passed it, that was a game of just like he took his knee down like 1 second, and that was just like a bad like.
well, I mean, that's the thing because it's one of those games where it's like the Cowboys lost, but I still think that they would beat most teams in the playoffs. The Eagles are still 8-1, clearly the best team in the NFC for now. So it's like
Now,
it feels easy enough. You can't really change either one, I don't think.
now the good question is for the Cowboys, and I will say as a Cowboys fan, they would play against the 49ers.
Yeah, that's a hard matchup. I mean, if they
They
were to play right now, I would take the Cowboys.
Yeah, I kind of feel like the 49ers are not looking good. Like
Yeah,
this
I
is
mean,
definitely
in
this,
January it might be different, but right now, the way if the teams played today, I would pick the Cowboys.
I will be honest with you. I don't think the 49ers would curb stomp the Cowboys right now.
No, if they played today, it'd be a good game. I would favor the Cowboys.
Yeah, I think on even at like at 49ers field, I think they would still it'd be a close good game.
Yeah,
Like
agreed.
now we have to talk about a sad day for Sunday night football. The greatest game for Sunday night football. Somehow they decided in this Sunday night football game it was a great game. The Bills versus Bengals.
See that on paper, that's a great game.
It's on paper, it was a great game. But the
Yeah,
Bills look like they're not. a great team, even though they lost closely.
Like they're one of those teams that they have to be the most confusing team I've ever seen.
I'm
Because
confused with them. Like this
like,
team's supposed to be good. I thought on paper, I literally gave them an 8 in week 4 because they curb stomped Miami.
oh, they look so good. Like they looked so impressive, and then they lost to the Jaguars, which whatever, and then they keep losing. Like Josh
Like,
Allen looks solid, but they just can't win.
yeah, honestly, if I'm like a Bills fan, this is the most frustrating because like every other team. All right, let's put it this way: every other team in the NFL right now. Okay, the teams that I feel like were in like the preseason where I gave them like good high ratings
Mhm.
or low expectations for them. The Bills are the only ones where I'm just like, wow, this team looks really bad.
Well, and what their point differential just doesn't make sense, like because they can be so dominant. Like I don't know if it's a lack of focus, bad coaching. Like I don't know. They should be better than 5-4.
Like, look at the I'm looking at right now. You lost to the Patriots who are bad. You
Mm,
you barely beat the Giants, who I don't think are that good. You lost to the Jaguars. You barely beat the Buccaneers.
yeah.
And
Like
you
only they had one convincing win, and of course it was against the Dolphins.
yeah, and honestly, I think that game was a fluke. And I
Yeah,
hate to say it. I like the Bills. I like Josh Allen,
yeah. I
but I
don't know
just
how you can rank them above a six though. I mean, they're a
they're
playoff team, but
5. You know the craziest part is I'm looking at the playoff predictions right now. The the Bills would be out of the playoffs right now. As we speak, they would not even make the playoffs.
yeah, that's a pretty sad reality with how much talent they have.
This is the most wasted talent right now, and they paid so much. You got to give them the 5. You're out of the playoffs theoretically. You got to give that team a 5.
Hey, you're not going to hear an argument from me.
Now, this would be a good question for the Bengals. The Bengals have been. I feel like this is the same Bengals team that was like last year, where they lost their last couple games,
Well, I
and it's
mean,
kind
I feel like they're just like arguably I think they're like the second hottest team in football right now behind the Ravens.
they're totally like look at how we put it in the regular season right now. We literally, I gave them a 3 at one point in week 4
Hmm.
when they literally. I'm just looking at when they lost to the Titans badly.
Yeah.
Like I gave them a 3. I did not. I was not impressed, and then they won a couple games.
Well, I
They
mean, a
lost.
seven doesn't feel out of the question for them.
This is the craziest thing because like they're like hot. They would technically play against Baltimore.
Oh gosh. So if they played against anyone else, like that's the thing, like because they feel like a seven to me. I mean, if you go into San Francisco, you dominate. You just dominated the Bills and the 49ers, who at one point, like if you look at week 4, those would have been our two best teams in football. Like literally we had the 49ers as a 9. Week 4, there were two eights,
Mhm.
and the Bengals just beat them both. Like that is a high quality football team right now.
I think they're definitely a high quality football team. I think we still keep the 6 for right now because they would play against the Ravens, but it's a higher 6 than last week because I do think they will not be that 7 seed right now. If they're playing what they're playing right now, I think they're definitely in a much more higher seed.
Okay.
Now we got the last 2 greatest Monday Night Football game, which I did not watch.
Yeah, I
I don't
watched some of it. It was hard to watch. I think I was switching back and forth between some hockey and stuff too.
Oh my god, I did not watch this game, but I knew the Jets.
But yeah, like I
My
knew the Jets would
god,
lay an offensive egg. Like we already talked about earlier how ruthless the announcers were. Maybe it's warranted. I mean, like shoot, these guys are making a lot of money to play offense and they didn't do much.
it sucks because I really had high hopes that the Jets would like, and
Uh,
yeah,
it's
I
so
thought
sad too, because like you talk about wasted talent. Like we are just talking about the Bills. It's like the amount of amazing players on the Jets, like just like the rookies and second years too. Like they crushed the draft. Like just so disappointing. Like to have Garrett Wilson, to have Sauce Gardner, to have Brees Hall, to have Quentin Williams, to have all these absolute studs, one of the best defenses in the league. And all you need to do is score like 14 points a game and you can win a lot.
And literally, even without Aaron Rodgers, and they had that slump. And mind you, they had that slump.
Yeah.
Zach Wilson looking okay as a QB.
Mhm.
And now it's like it sucks because I think I kind of agree with all my other podcasts I was listening to. This is such a waste. There,
Which
if they don't, it's such a waste. All that talent was wasted for nothing.
Yeah, hopefully they can hang around long enough for Rodgers to return. Because it'd be
But
so fun to see Rod like that's a team that nobody would want to play in the playoffs if they sneak in as an Aaron Rodgers led Jets team. Like who
but
wants to see Aaron Rodgers with that defense in the playoffs? I know I wouldn't. No. I don't know. I feel like the Jets though, I mean, I feel like they're a four.
yeah,
I
but
don't
I
know. They're
will
all that
say
close to
this:
the playoffs.
they would be deadly if they made the playoffs, and I don't think they will make the playoffs.
You know.
Now, this is a crazy one for the Chargers because this is like a weird.
Um wait,
They
can I
have been,
ask you one question on the Jets really quick?
yeah,
Do you think their head coach should be on the hot seat in any way?
no,
Yeah, I agree. I think
I
it's
do
one of
not.
those where like you watch them and like I like Robert Sala. I think he's a really good coach. I think they just got unfortunate and Zach Wilson just isn't quite developing.
I mean, I got annoyed when literally Bengals fans were saying the coach should be fired after they had a couple slump. I'm like, this is the guy that made you the two NFC playoffs and made you to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, like they were just a couple of plays away from Super Bowl. So
Yeah, like literally, like you should not. I don't think this is really like Robert Sala's fault for how this team's been. I do not think. I mean,
well, I mean,
granted,
he was
there's
a defensive coordinator and he's come and their defense has been elite.
yeah, like honestly, there's
You know. Mm, oops.
definitely. I feel like we need to fire. I honestly think they should fire the Giants head coach right now. If I had to pick,
Yeah,
like who should be team right now.
yeah, that's also fair. Okay.
Yeah. Now, what
Sorry,
do we put
I
the
get sidetracked.
Chargers? The Chargers,
Um,
they beat the team that's good. That's not that good decisively. They're still 4-4. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. They've been kind of mediocre. I've not been Justin Herbert. I've not been impressed as like a QB right now. And I will be honest with you, it's kind of crazy with the point differential with the 2.5 for the Lions. I don't think they're going to beat the Lions. They're not going to lose to the Lions by like 2.5, maybe like a touchdown.
see, I don't
So
like the Lions are favored, you said?
the Lions are fair, but only 2.5. Actually, crazy enough.
I don't know. It's one of those games that like I'm nervous about as a Lions fan. 'Cause I'm
You
like,
think you think it's a trap game?
not even as I don't know. I just feel like the Chargers are better than their record. But like I can't figure out why I think that because it's like I think they were getting let off the hook a lot because the Jets were so bad. But like the Chargers weren't doing anything on offense.
And
Like
I think the problem is Justin Herbert. They've been close losing, but Justin Herbert cannot get
they don't win those
get
big games. Like they
touchdown.
lost that playoff game to the Jaguars. That was kind of embarrassing. And they just, I don't know. I think they'll figure it out enough to compete for the playoffs, but until then, I feel like a five.
I feel like they're definitely. Oh, that's a good question. Oh, I might just. I feel like they're that 4.
Yeah, I
I
mean they
think there's.
were a four last week. Like,
I feel like it's
where would they be at in the playoff race?
they would be because and here's the problem. Like they would not be in a good spot in the playoff race right now. So as of right now, I mean they're still in it, but they're still 10th.
Oh yeah, that's not good.
Like I don't think I'm gonna be honest. I think Houston's better than the Chargers.
Ooh, so that's a bold statement. That's a bold
I'm
one.
gonna say it. I think Houston's a better team than the Chargers right now.
Oh, I hope they get to play. Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna argue too hard for them to be a five. Like if they beat the Lions, then we can have some talks. But
Yeah, yeah. If they beat the Lions, I might consider it. But right
yeah,
now, they can't win in clutch time. That's my only reason why they're 4. They're looking okay. I don't think this team's gonna make the playoffs. Herbert can't win when clutch needs to come. That
yeah,
is the only.
agreed. Well,
There you
fantastic.
go. We got the tier maker. If we're looking up right now, Is there any teams
Cool.
that really went up? The Vikings went up. The Saints went up. Those are the only two teams that went up on right now. It's been kind of and the Texans went up.
Nice. Well,
And the Chiefs
if
went
you
up.
want, I will try to graph this and maybe send out a picture to the group.
I don't mind that. Now I guess I should ask how much we left on time.
I don't know, but I'm gonna stop the recording.